Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out for our very first Sip and Share, something we hope to repeat twice a semester with some different topics that hopefully will be of good interest to you guys. Before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to our student leaders. We have fifth graders that hopefully escorted you in and have been greeting you and talking with you today. And so give them a big hand. And student leaders, you guys can go on back to Fine Arts with the exception of Wyatt hanging out here with us.
Great job, guys. So proud.
All right, so we're here to talk about our house system and what it is and why we have it. And Wyatt Shelters, one of our fifth graders, is going to start us off with that and give you a little bit of introduction to the house system. Wyatt, come on up. Yeah. Sorry, hang on just a second. Find your presentation going here. All right, here you want to step over here to the side of it.
Good morning. My name is Wyatt Shelters, and today we're going to talk about what I think about the houses. So I'm in house Altarismo.
Woo!
As Miss D calls it, Rismo. And I like it because we are the house of givers. And givers give, and which means that we are kind, caring people in this group. And so that's what I believe, that these houses are good for our school. And our motto is 4 houses, 1 school. Thank you.
Woohoo! Exactly what we needed.
All right, so the house system came about a couple of ways with us. First, we are also embarking on a journey of project-based learning, and part of that journey was to visit Dixie Elementary in Lexington. And while we were there learning about project-based learning, they also had implemented the house system. And so there had been a couple of teachers in our building that were already doing a modified version of the house system, but when we went there to Dixie Elementary and saw them doing it, the team of us that went knew that that's something we wanted to implement here at Southside. And then we had an opportunity to, this summer in early June, 9 of us go to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta. And they are basically the originators of the house system. And so we really got a chance to see that in action there and see all the things that it did for their school community, and knew that that was certainly what we wanted to do here. So this year we have 3 big rocks that we basically have every year, and they change based on the needs of the school. But one of the big rocks that we have this year is about connections and building a more positive school climate, relationships, camaraderie, and the house system is the perfect way to do that. So of the other 2 big rocks we have, this was the one that's most connected with the house system, and we're excited about the things that have come about from that. So over the course of the year, so far, we have been learning about the houses, the students have been, and then most of your students have already been sorted into a house, and we're going to get to talk about those in just a minute. But this is a hype video that we are showing all of them to get them excited at each of our sorting ceremonies. And so
So the kids have loved that video. I mean, this is the quietest I've ever heard that video. But they absolutely love it. And it's just been a really cool way. It gets really excited sometimes. I mean, we can watch it again, that's fine. Gets me really pumped up. But it has been so neat to watch their excitement absolutely just blossom this year. So really you might be thinking, okay, Misty, this is great, but like, what are you talking about? What are these houses? You might not have any background knowledge. Now, some of you may have seen Harry Potter before. It kind of gives those vibes a little bit, but it's a little bit different. And really the premises behind it that Ron Clark, when he initiated this, was that deep down, all of us just genuinely want to belong. We want to belong to something, and it just feels good to belong. And we realized we're like that as adults, and so are our kids. And we want them to feel that sense of belonging. And I know I'm a little biased, and we are both a little biased. We think our school is incredible, and we think our culture at our school is incredible, and we are so blessed to have amazing staff and amazing students that contribute to that. But we just wanted to up it even more and increase that sense of belonging, which is why we started this house system. So basically, think of them as teams. We call them houses and teams. It's kind of interchangeable. But every person in this entire building has been sorted into a house.
Except for kindergartners. Not
Except
yet.
for kindergartners.
They'll get theirs on the
And
12th of
that's
September.
coming.
So.
Right now they're learning how to school. So we thought we might let them learn how to school and then get to the house system after that. So that's coming September 12th. But even the kindergartners are already catching the excitement, which is so incredible to see. I have a kindergartner myself, my 5-year-old saying, Mommy, I want to be on Alturismo. And Alturismo is a really big word. And she is so excited just even at that young age. So the excitement is catching. So every person in our building after those kindergartners will be sorted. And one thing that we love about this especially too is, and it's not just our kids, it's all of our staff too. Our cafeteria staff is going to be sorted. I mean, everybody in this building is going to belong to one of these houses. And within these houses, we're just going to work together to build that teamwork and to build that camaraderie. Let's see if this is going to like me today. So, and it's really just creating that family within our school family. And it's also a way for us to just celebrate each other and celebrate the achievements of our kids. And then, of course, it's a little bit of a healthy competition, and who doesn't love some competition? So our kids are very excited about that as well. So within the houses, we obviously build that teamwork. We have been doing our sorting ceremonies, which has been so much fun. And when the kids get sorted, they immediately join their house or their team, and they are welcomed by their entire team. So that teamwork starts immediately. And it has been so cool to watch them get so close with each other already. So now that everyone has been sorted, the kids are working to get house points. And you might have already heard this before, but these are a huge accomplishment. We've made a really big deal about them, and they are extremely, extremely motivated and excited by them. So basically, all 4 houses are competing to be the house champion at the end of the year. So they already are thinking about the end of the year and how they want their house to win, like Alturismo better win, So they're excited about it. And they have dojo points, so that might be something that's familiar to you that you might have heard them talk about. And it's a little bit different, and I'll show you the differences here in just a second. But they're working for those house points, and we have put an emphasis on leadership and character qualities to get these house points. So when they get a house point, it's a really big deal, and it's a chance for us to recognize the exemplary characteristics that we want to see at Southside. So when a kid, it's been so cool, like a kid dropped something in the cafeteria and they helped the other one pick it up. And that's the kind of citizens that we want to build. That's the kind of children that we want to have. That's what I want my own kid to possess. And so that's the perfect time to spotlight, oh my gosh, you just helped them. Thank you so much for helping them. You stopped what you were doing to help this kid. You get a house point. And it is a game changer for them because they get so excited about it. And then it gives us a chance to spotlight these kids and to spotlight some of the kids that maybe do those quiet acts of kindness that sometimes might go unnoticed. And all of our staff in the entire building can award house points. So I had a 5th grader come down the hall with a sticky note that said House Point from one of the cafeteria ladies, which was fabulous because now it's not just the teachers that can recognize these things. It's everybody in this building that can recognize the good deeds and those good characteristics that our students possess. So they're a really big deal. We've talked to our kids about them, and they only happen every now and then because they are, when those kids are going above and beyond. So I like a good table. So this is kind of a comparison between those dojo points that you're hearing about and then the house points. So your dojo points are going to be like your academics, kind of your behavior incentives. You're doing a great job in class. You just got a dojo point. You completed your work. Awesome job. You've got a list of, you were great at problem solving today. And that's within the classroom. And that's still another way that these kids can get fuel in their tank and hear that positivity as well. But then our house points are going to be going above and beyond. So that math problem was one of the hardest problems. And I watched you try the entire time and not give up. I'm going to give you a dojo point, but I'm giving you a house point as well. So do you see how it's kind of that difference between just going above and beyond what we expect out of them? And wow, you helped them, you stopped playing to go help a kid up on the playground. That right there is leadership. That right there is kindness. I want to recognize you and give you a house point. So they are loving these house points. And it just gives us an opportunity to pour into our kids and build this teamwork and get them so excited. So you can kind of see being safe, being respectful, being responsible. Those are our expectations here at Southside, and those are going to stay true always. So we want to recognize with dojo points when they're doing those things. But when they go above and beyond, we want to recognize that and give them those house points. So eventually, we have some new TVs, which is really exciting. And there's one in the front hallway. And then as you leave the cafeteria, you make the left. And if you look towards the gym doors, there's one right there as well. We have a screen that's super cool. And it shows all the houses. And then as soon as a kid earns a house point, their picture shows up on the screen. So it's live. So they can see themselves on the TV, and the whole school can see them. And they can see that they earned a house point for Altruismo. And they absolutely love it. So that's another way that we can just really brag on our kids and spotlight their hard work. So I know I've talked a lot about Altruismo, but there are 3 other houses as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about the houses too, so you can get an idea of what each house is and how it works. So I'll start with the best. Altruismo is the house of givers. So you might have a kid that is in Altruismo. Now, that means you are obviously in Altruismo in the best house. But you also might have a house divided. So when your kids come home, you might have a kid that's in Altruismo and the house of Revere as well. So we call that a house divided. So some of you might have a divided house, and some of you just might have one house. So when you're learning about these houses, just know it's not just your kids. You're a part of the family now too. So Altruismo, we are the house of givers. So this house is known for the bold strength and the sense of giving that it possesses. And we told the kids when they were sorted that your strengths are going to be brought out by your house because it was done in a random sort of way. So when some of them are like, but Misty, I'm really not the giving type. So we said, this is going to give you a chance to let that shine in you. So then we've also been talking, each house has its own crest, which they love. So they've had a chance to look at the symbolism on the crest. And then one of my favorite things is each house has a sign as well. So when they're in the hallway, if you've seen them, they might have shown these to you already. But since I'm Altruismo, I can walk the hall and I will see them throw me the Altruismo sign. And it is so awesome to see. So you can see our signs here as well. And it's just another way to build camaraderie. And I'm in the 3rd trimester of my pregnancy, so I got a little teary-eyed the other day, but we can blame the baby. But they were, 5th grade had just gotten sorted, and they were with their whole house afterwards. So I watched Team Amistad walk by, Team Isabindi, and all of them have signs, but they gave each other their team sign. And it was awesome to see them just already building that camaraderie, and it was so neat to see. So they've got their signs. We talked to them that each house has a symbolic animal. So Altruismo, we are the griffins. Or we also have the snake. We talk to the kids about the characteristic of the house. We empower others, lift them up. So you can just kind of get an idea. We showed this to the kids as well. But then we also have more houses. So we have Team River. So some of you might have some kids that are in the House of River. And this is the House of Dreamers. So this is for the creative type. So these people chase their passions and chase their dreams and have a very creative spirit. And they also have their own sign too. So they throw up their little crescent moons at each other, and it is so cool to see. Sometimes there's a little bit of howling because they are the wolves, but we have told them that's an outside thing, not an inside thing. So they have loved it though. So it's really neat though, when we see a Team River walk by, we can show them the reverse sign, just showing them we support you and we care about you, even though we're on these different teams. So you can see this house is confident and they're passionate and they're the really, really big dreamers. And then we also have the House of Amistad, and this is the House of Friendship. So these people that land in this house, they're intelligent and creative, and they're very friendly. So these are going to be the ones that have that sense of friendship and are true to themselves. So you can see about Amistad, and then Ami has their sign that's a heart. So they will give each other the heart sign if they are in Amistad. And I'm going to tell them about the mommies.
Okay.
I've got to. So we learned at Ron Clark, if your kid is in Amistad, they have said the Amistad moms are called Ami mommies. So some of you might be an Ami mommy right now. We got some Ami mommies, that's right. And apparently they have fans. They're on the Ron Clark website, and the Ami mommies flip their fans. So it's a whole thing for Ami mommies. I kind of was a little jealous. So I'm like, I want to be an Ami mommy. But so it's really, and then you can be an Ami poppy too. It's okay. So don't feel left out, guys. But we thought that was hysterical. But it just shows at Ron Clark, like these families, they wore the colors, they wore the gear. I mean, they were in it. Like there was a bridal ceremony they had like a group of parents, and her bridal party popped their fans because they were all Ami mommies. So I mean, they really got into it, and we were so shocked. But that just shows like the camaraderie and the excitement that this brings. So and then Ami also has the keys as well, and I will let Mr. Reynolds tell you about his house, which is.
Yes. So I'm Isabendi. And I think Isabendi's the best house. And it's the House of Courage. And one of the reasons, though, that it's the best house is we're the only house that has a hand symbol that we can do with just one hand. So it's much easier to throw that way on.
It is true.
And so that makes it the best one. So
it's a little easier.
Anyway, so we're the characteristics of Isabendi's just being strength and courage, more of often a quieter group of people. Our animals is a lion, but also we have a mute swan on the top of our chest.
We don't really understand that one. We just go with the lion.
That's the quiet courage part.
Yeah, it has to be.
Anyways. So, but of course, this symbol, if you didn't know, is the symbol for I love you. But I get this 1,000 times a day in the hallways from the kids. And it's fantastic that they're doing that as we pass through. All right, so we have the big motto. We repeat this in our house sorting ceremonies. We probably repeat this 30 times, but have the kids say, we'll say 4 houses and they'll repeat 1 school. Because even though we are divided into houses now, we don't want a divided culture. We want everyone to know that this is still one big school. We are still here for each other. And like Mackenzie said, they really do a great job of supporting each other as we walk through the hallways. And so far, at least, are showing that it's a fun competition, not an overly aggressive one. So it does bring out the best of everybody. So house prize, we're asking for this year, and I know some of you are probably tired of this already, of your kids wanting to wear your house shirt every day, right? So we're not going to wear them every day.
It doesn't have to be every day.
But we are going to ask that every Friday they wear house colors. And so it's fine if they don't wear their house shirt, but they can, if you're in Amistad, just wear a red shirt that day. If you're in Isabendi, something green, whatever. So every Friday, just wear your house colors. So we're going to try to do that every Friday just to show support for the houses. And then there have been people who have asked about where could we get more shirts so we don't have just one that we're trying to wash all the time. we have 2 local vendors that are going to be selling shirts if you're interested, or some gear. We have Kathy's Creations and also Southern Charm Design. We'll both be selling those starting Monday, I think, on Facebook. And I'm sure if you reach out, or I would guess probably Miss Candy will probably post something out there about that if you're interested. No
And they
obligations,
also
but if
have adult sizes as well. So if you want to treat yourself to your team shirt, now that you're officially in the house too, we would highly recommend that. And the kids, I mean, I've had kids be like, I'm going to wear my shirt every day. I'm like, no, you're not. And you're not going to go tell your parents that you need to wear your shirt every single day. And I love that you're excited. But so Fridays, it'll just give us a chance to show that camaraderie and fun. But yes, definitely check those out because they've got some really cute stuff.
Now, we do have a lot of evening events over the course of the year that would be great to see you in a house shirt. So
That's right.
Take it, or at least in the colors. So our rollout, we've already made sure that the staff has been sorted. We have just finished the student sorting with the exception of kindergarten. We have been teaching them about the house systems. And so we are actually having our first house rally, which will be all the kids' grades 1 through 5 this afternoon, where they'll be with their houses, not necessarily with their classes. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. I would imagine we're going to have a lot of screaming, but it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, maybe some howling.
Yeah, if you're even in the vicinity, I'm sure you will hear us.
Yes, you will.
Yes. And so, what are we going to do with houses going forward? Other than the house points, we are going to be having monthly house meetings. And those will be an opportunity for, I think probably the biggest thing is for older kids to kind of be looking out and watching over the younger kids. And that way you have that not just within your grade level relationship, but even a larger relationship, something that we haven't had in the past that we're working on. And some of you, if you have 5th graders, they're already going down and working with the kindergartners every day since the start of school. Basically, they're doing a Southside Academy thing where the 5th graders are doing leadership versus the kindergartners are working on their how to do school things. And so that will continue, and maybe a little more houseway once the kindergartners get their houses as well. We will continue to award house points. And then at the end of the year, there's not a real big prize for being the winning team, but the prize is going to be that everyone else has to wear that team's colors. And so that would probably be maybe the day before the last day of school or something like that we'll do that. So it's not a huge thing, but it's still something that they are excited about going forward. I did take a little screenshot of the leaderboard of the app. This is what it looks like. It does not have the kids' pictures up here right now because no one had, I did this morning, no one had recently received a house point. But right now,
Like I said.
Turismo is in the lead, and for some reason, Isabindi's in last. Gotta work on that. But
He's going to skip that side really quick.
yeah. And perfect timing is that we have asked Miss Worthman's 1st grade class to come in and show. Miss Worthman has kind of worked with them to create some house chants. This shortened primary versions of house chants. As we go through the year, we're going to develop some more that our 5th grade leaders are going to help with, but we're going to ask them to come up and do each of the house chants right now. Excellent timing.
All right, let's give it up for Miss Worthman's class as they come in.
All Turismo. All Turismo.
Woohoo!
Let's do Issy Bindi. Are you ready? I say Issy, you say Bindi. Issy Bindi. Issy Bindi. Let's do Amistad. Are you ready? Here we go. A-M-I-S-T-A-D. Amistad.
Woohoo! Good job!
Okay, last one nice and loud. Are you ready? Let's do revert. Ready, go.
So at this point, we're open for questions that will benefit the whole group. If you have individual things, you can see us afterwards, but if there's a question that would benefit everyone, please raise them, ask them, we'll do our best to answer. Yes, sir.
Do they stay in the same house throughout their time, or does it change every year?
That is a great question. We probably should have answered that along the way. They will stay in the house the entire time. Yes. Yes. each year, the kindergartners, of course, will sort new kindergartners, and then we have a wheel up front that we now, if we have new kids come into the school, we'll use the wheel to sort those. And in doing that, we're going to bring some of our fifth grade leaders up, at least one from each house. That way, as soon as they spin the wheel, whatever house is, they got somebody that's immediately their friend. You're going to love them. So. Yes, ma'am?
Will any of the project-based learning projects be house-based as far as like bringing in, like the kindergarten to fifth grade camaraderie? I mean, I really like that.
Right.
That they're not just hanging out with all the fifth graders, fourth graders, but will any of the project-based learning
We have talked.
be house-based?
I'm not sure this is directly related to project-based learning, but we are going to do some partner houses within grade levels where if you're in Revere and maybe the Revere fourth grade will be with the Revere second grade and team up in that way. I
I don't want to steal their thunder, but fifth grade is planning one of their projects is they've been doing the Stallion Academy, which has been helping the kindergartners, which has been so cool to see, helping the kindergartners get settled here at school and teaching them those fundamental skills of school. And then they have kind of started to put a bug in the fifth graders' ear, the teachers have, of we've got to sort these kindergartners. We've got to make sure that they also can join in on the house system. So part of their project for their PBL is the fifth graders are actually going to be the planners of the kindergartners sorting ceremony. So their task is going to be to plan the logistics, organize everything, help with the ceremony. And so that is one way that it's tied into the houses that they're really excited about.
Yeah, so if you have a fifth grader, they'll need to be here on September 12th, that evening as well. That's the sorting ceremony for them. So.
Yep.
And then in relation to that, like things like field day or something like that, is that going to be separated by house or any other competitions that'll be?
Honestly, we haven't gotten that far yet. It may end up being that way, but we haven't made that yet.
Which would be really a great
It
idea.
is a good
It would
idea.
be a great person to have that.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How did you choose which group they went into, which house? Was there?
Well, it's mostly random. There are a few that had obvious characteristics that we, in the upper grades, that we made sure got into a particular house, but most of it was random. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir?
Could you talk a little bit about some of the challenges? I'm sure it's all been very positive, but I'm sure there have been some feelings about houses that I'm in and didn't get in and all of those things.
Yeah, there are a couple instances where kids were not excited about the house that they were in. And it really has been pretty neat, though, that the other kids in the house have basically just surrounded and really tried their best to pull them into it. And those feelings, at least from what I could tell, lasted for 10 minutes or something like that. And then they were good and with their house. And that's been one of the challenges.
And honestly, that is something that we worried about, too, because we didn't want them. And when the teachers presented it, we really encouraged them to bring their energy and their passion, too, for all of the houses. And that spread to the kids as well. But that is something that we did worry about, that, oh gosh, when we're presenting these, are these kids going to get attached to one of the houses and be sad that they are not in that house? And so we also gave them the kind of the same speech that I gave you guys of, I know that you may not think that you're a dreamer, but this house is choosing you because you have that in you. And we really tried to build up the strengths of each house so they felt like I could be a dreamer and I can be passionate and I can be creative. So that helps too. But the sorting ceremonies were incredible. I mean, watching them in their excitement, immediately as soon as they got their house, they were welcomed by a whole crew of screaming, excited kids that were hugging them. Like, we had some first grade girls, I guess it was yesterday, no, it was second grade girls, and they were in tears, crying and hugging each other. Like, it was the sweetest thing. So I can't handle it because I'm over here like, oh my goodness. But it was so sweet, and just seeing them, and it was the whole house. That was what was incredible to watch, and it just gave you goosebumps because it wasn't just a couple kids that were excited to welcome them. It was the whole house was just so excited for any new member that they had. So I think those initial feelings of, oh, I really wanted the black team or the red team, faded when they looked up and saw that whole crew just waiting to embrace them.
Do you think it might be important to keep checking in with them to make sure that does continue?
And I think that's why it's important. Yes.
The excitement you shared about the tears, there could be someone sitting on the side that has the opposite reaction.
Right.
Like, oh, I wish I was in that so bad.
Yeah.
And that could linger.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's another reason it's important that we keep these house meetings and we keep the focus, because that just continues to build. If we left it at this, I mean, it's still great the way it is, but if we left it here, then we wouldn't have a chance to build on what we've got. So having this foundation, now we can just continue to build on it and give those kids a chance to get intertwined, even the ones that are maybe on the back row a little bit, but give them a chance to get intertwined with their group and just build that teamwork.
Did I make this up? But did you say there's an app that we can follow along?
There is an app, but we're using it in-house at this point and have not opened it up for parents. We may at some point, but right now we're just trying to get a handle on it ourselves before we do that. So,
Good question.
Is there a way to make sure that it's pretty evenly distributed in terms of numbers between the teams, so that like Altruismo doesn't have like a whole bunch more than?
we have.
I think that's important.
We have kind of manipulated that as we were initially assigning. We felt like this first year we had to make sure that that was the case, and so yeah, the numbers are almost not exactly even, but they're close. So
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Will kindergartners participate in the monthly meetings and the pep rallies
They will.
once they're sorted?
Yes, once they get sorted, they will. Anything else? Well, like I said, we will have another sip and share. It will be November 15th, and the topic's going to be project-based learning. And then Mr. Muniz did ask me to put out a plea for help for you guys. He, of course, we have our 5K tonight, fun run and 5K that starts at 6 o'clock tonight. And he had quite a few volunteers, and some that maybe have other commitments now are not going to be able to come, so he's still looking for volunteers. So if you're willing and able, he would love that. Yes, ma'am.
I have one more question, I'm sorry. It just came to me. What is appropriate on these meeting days, or say every Friday, for their deck out? Because my kid thought he needed red sunglasses and red hat, and now that I'm an Ami mommy, I don't know if
I say, so Fridays normally, today is a rally. So they were very excited. So a house rally or a house celebration, those are going to be big. And they're also going to be few and far between because they are big. So those type of celebrations, I think decking them out is perfectly fine. On a normal Friday, just their shirt or their color is perfectly fine. But on a rally or on a celebration day, and we've talked to, those are going to be like, before fall break or before Christmas break, one of those Fridays before the break when everybody's already so excited. So let's channel that and have a celebration. So those are going to be less as compared to like the house meetings. Those are going to happen less frequently, but that would be, so if they came decked out today, that's perfect.
And moving forward, we'll try to push something out to Parent Square that we're going to have a rally, whatever, next Friday or something, if that's the case. That way you're aware of that it's not just a normal Friday. So.
Yeah, great question.
All right, so we appreciate you guys coming so much.
Yes.
And hopefully it's been informative. So.